Now, going over to the culture part of the podcast and additional fashion news, North Face is offering 20% off if you take a racial inclusion course and admit to white privilege. Now, I am not a college gal, or I don't know, I'm pretty sure, or a gal who just stays home during the day. I'm definitely not the core demographic for the North Face. I'm trying to think if I've ever bought anything from them in my life. No, I don't think so. They were popular. I think some folks wore them in college back in the day. Nevertheless, I'm definitely not their target demographic. And they claim to be an outdoors rugged brand for climbing mountains. Though I would love to know what the percentage of people actually purchase those materials and those clothing actually go on expeditions. But nevertheless, that's kind of the whole marketing shtick. But they have becoming more and more known for their social activism and coming out with controversial statements and policies like this. Now, one of the first people to report on this was James Esses over on X Twitter. He says, quote, retailer in the North Face is offering 20% off if you complete their digital course in racial inclusion. Customers are told that white privilege grants access to the outdoors and warns others are excluded from the outdoors because of racism. Unquote. Woke capitalism at its worst. I got 1.9 million views and 11,000 likes. Now, going to the actual advertisement from the North Face, it is quite long and boring because there's not a lot of pictures, but nevertheless, North Face says, quote, Allyship in the Outdoors, a digital course about racial inclusion created by the North Face. Members completing this course will get a 20% promo code to use online. The outdoors are created for everyone, or are they? Created for our members, our global XPLR Pass community, Allyship in the Outdoors aims to inspire all of us to reflect, to check our white privilege, and play our part in creating more equitable outdoors. They can, quote, unquote. Now they continue on page 2. Wow, they even have now in terms of marketing, they do, in terms of your course completion percentage in the Allyship course, the little indicator is in fact of a person with a walking stick. Which, okay, that kind of makes sense in terms of completing a course. That's not brand, but the rest of this is not. Now, they continue saying, quote, let's sum up what you heard in the stories. Privilege can give access to the outdoors. That means some people can enjoy the outdoors that they inherit from birth and or accumulated over time. For example, aspects of identity that can give privilege relate to race, religion, gender, wealth, sexual orientation, ability, or citizenship status. In this particular context, we refer to, quote, white privilege, unquote, meaning that your race and skin color can give you access to the outdoors when others can be excluded because of historic, enduring racism and biases, unquote. Now, they actually bolded and underlined the word racism, so they really wanted to be bombastic and highlight that one note. Now, they continue saying, quote, white privilege, however, does not imply that white people have not or cannot experience struggles in life. It means that any struggles that a white person has faced or may face is not related to the color of their skin, unquote. Which, again, I know history books have collected a copious amounts of dust throughout the years, as unfortunately less and less people read them. But pretty much every race, including white European people and white people in general, have experienced some type of discrimination due to their skin. And again, what does this have to do with the outdoors? I've never heard anything so ludicrous as the fact that they're implying that the outdoors inherently, your white privilege allows you to go outdoors easier. Has the North Face never heard of a national park, which are quite literally created for anyone, or a public park, or just a forest anywhere? I mean, there are quite literally millions of acres of land throughout the globe where you can just go there and walk for free. It doesn't cost you anything. It's almost unfathomable how unusual this is. And again, they're a fashion company. They're not a nonprofit. This is not their core competency. Their core competency is making cheap Chinese goods, throwing a logo on it, and having white women pay hundreds of dollars for it. And it's worked for years. It's very profitable. People love the brand. It used to be loved by darn near everyone. And they're supposed to be about getting you supposedly outdoors to go hiking and go do some fun stuff. And yes, they're implying that's not. It's almost unfathomable how much of a shoe they put in their own mouth, or in this case, perhaps a hiking boot. Because again, I don't know how's this going to increase sales. It's actually you could actually argue it's costing them money because they're giving away a coupon, but this is also going to alienate a huge portion of your prospective clients who probably, because you're being so utterly offensive and, well, just wrong as well, and morally and mentally vacuous to say the least. And access to the outdoors. Again, no one's locked inside. This isn't the first time I've read this. I've read this a couple times, and it's still, but almost seemingly more and more bizarre and mentally vacuous every time you read the dang thing. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the comments are overwhelming support, and everyone is taking this course. They're getting that coupon. They're admitting they have white privilege, and that it was easier for them to walk outside the door and go outdoors. I mean, probably not, but let's dive in the comments and find out. Now, again, that got 1.9 million views, which is quite a bit to say the least, in the first 48 hours. Now, one of the first comments comes from Zuby saying, quote, LOL, they still think it's 2020 and this crap will work, unquote, getting 3.8 thousand likes. You also have Elon Musk chiming in saying, or rather, emojiing clown face and world, getting 3.4 thousand likes. Gina says, quote, I've been buying North Face for 20 plus years. I'm done forever, WTF, unquote. I got 1.3 thousand likes. Zeno says, quote, hilarious how North Face sees their customers. And it is a picture of Eric Cartman from South Park dressed up as a Klan member. That got 687 likes. J.O. Hart says, quote, the victims of the grooming gangs were targeted because of their white privilege or their white skin. Now, this looks like another piece. Let's see here. Is this another experience from their skin? This person highlighted that. They highlighted the part of the North Face training about white privilege and then juxtaposed it with an article about someone being quite literally, so I'm trying to make this moderately family friendly, but a white gal who was, they said white slurs against her, and then they beat her, and then they took advantage of her in the worst possible way to prove to the point that, because again, yes, people are discriminated all the time in terms of, white privilege or being white. It's not just one way. And again, that also has nothing to do with the outdoors. Now, that got 866 likes for that particular comment. You have Isaac Segler saying, quote, gee, and I thought the North Face was in the business of selling overpriced outdoor clothes, likely made by slave labor in China, not the hectoring business, but seems not. I might take the course, but answer with only politically incorrect responses while I still get the coupon, unquote, getting 199 likes. Not the... So scrolling down here. Lee Hilton says, quote, I wonder how it will affect their business if all white people stop buying their products, unquote, getting 261 likes, which... Yeah, that's a fair question. I can't help but think it's not just going to be a single-digit drop in sales if they were to completely alienate that group of people. Now, that being said, perhaps, again, maybe their core demographic is the white ladies who love this stuff. Because if you look at the breakdown from a cultural perspective and kind of buying habits and kind of who's buying into those types of ideologies, there are people in the United States who will agree and they will do business with North Face because of this. Now, the question is that going to increase their sales enough to offset the lost sales from the people that they are alienating so effectively? Now, Sushi Kanari, now this person says, if I do the training, does that mean that a North Face worker in Bangladesh will get paid an hour gets to go hiking this weekend? Getting, unquote, they got 897 likes. The social distancing champ says, quote, I'll never buy anything from the North Face again, getting 149 likes. Patty Ultra X says, quote, I'm genuinely puzzled by this. What is stopping people of any particular race from going camping or hiking? Why is the great outdoors somehow off limits unless you're white? What am I missing? Unquote. Great point. That got 973 likes, which, again, spot on. Barbara says, I wish there were a scam to capitalize on white guilt, but I'm afraid they might actually believe it. That got 370 likes. Taylor Silverman says, quote, take a hike at the North Face, unquote, which, good pun. I mean, they're supposed to be about getting people hiking, so I appreciate that. That got 452 likes. Susanna says, quote, they just don't learn. It will be interesting to see how the demographics, interesting to know that, oh, sorry. Again, speaking is a difficult thing at times. That's why I have a theory. If you click the subscribe button, it's precisely the subscribe button, it may very well help assist in my speaking ineptitudes in the goal of getting them lowered to basically zero someday. When I first started the show, I had basically no subscribers, and I had even worse speaking issues, speaking way even faster than now, stumbling over my words, mispronouncing things. But truth be told, the more subscribers I've gained, the better I've been speaking. Now, granted, some might argue just a modicum of improvement, barely at all, just a little bit, but I would argue still an improvement. So my theory is, the more subscribers I gather, well, the better I shall be able to speak and improve the actual show for everyone who is tuning in. So, again, a fun reminder, if you can click that button, I would greatly appreciate it. Now, Alice Dice Merriweather says, quote, decades ago, we equipped our expeditions with North Face products, the Knee Plus Ultra of the outdoor gear. By the 90s, it was all made in China. The quality plummeted and became a cheap brand known only for its label, unquote, gained 516 likes. Jenna Hoach says, quote, wow, I've been buying North Face for almost 30 years, never again, getting 1.7 thousand likes. And again, I'm scrolling more and more, and I do follow some people who are, politically more, you consider them leftist, and people in left, people in the middle, as well as people on the right on X Twitter, just because I want to try to gather as many viewpoints as possible. And echo chambers can get pretty boring pretty quick. And I'm scrolling to try to see if there's any contrarian statements or anyone who's saying, this is a great idea by North Face, or I'm going to shop at North Face because of this. Because again, there are some people out there who will, because they have a cultural alignment or political alignment with those ideals. Now, I can't suspect that this will be a net negative to their total business line or their total sales. But it'll be interesting to see, because that being said, I guess the average person who's buying North Face, maybe they are more already of the political ideology of white guilt and they think it's a good thing. Well, maybe the people who are more of the mindset that they don't believe in that, but perhaps they buy a different product such as a Carhartt or something to that effect from a different brand, different company. So it would be fascinating to see if you had access to all of that data to see the actual demographics of who buys the North Face gear. But because of what I suspect is their base demographics, I don't think we'll see a big boycott like Bud Light. And again, this also, as far as we can tell, they're not targeting children, whereas Bud Light, they actually hired Dylan Mulvaney, paying this individual $185,000 to pitch beer to children. Because again, the average demographic or the average age of the person tuning into Dylan Mulvaney was about 15 years old. So I don't think this is going to be like a Bud Light boycott by any means. I suspect some people might boycott it. It's also a more, we joke because it's near disposable in terms of some of the quality of some North Face gear, but it's a more durable product than a beer or a beverage where some people will buy beer once a week because you consume it, you throw it away. Whereas with clothing, you can make it last a fair amount. As we all know, men should always suit up, and this suit will last basically forever, as long as they take care of it. So let me know in the comments, do you think this will be a huge boycott? Do you think it'll probably just blow over? Maybe it'll affect their sales by 1 to 5%? And when was the last time you actually bought a North Face or went to one of their stores? As always, it'll be fascinating to hear what you have to say. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time to tune in today. Again, try to get to 4,000 subscribers by the end of the month, so if you could click that button, I'd greatly appreciate it. Also, leaving a thumbs up or thumbs down or a comment is a great way to give me some more additional feedback, letting me know how I can make the show better and better. Lastly, don't forget to take the time to tell your family, tell your friends, tell your coworkers, heck, tell your enemies, tell anyone and everyone. Just stay safe, fight the good fight.